he said that, Søren, if we went deer hunting, then I would get the most deers when we were going deer hunting, but you would shoot them right in the heart. And I would probably hit them in the neck or in the stomach, but I'll hit them.
This week, we are brought to you by Attest. Attest is a consumer research platform that enables brands to make customer understanding a competitive advantage with continuous insights. By combining unparalleled speed and data quality with on-demand research guidance, the platform makes it simple and fast to uncover opportunities with consumer data and grow without guesswork. Hello and welcome to the Shiny New Object podcast. My name is Tom Ollerton. I'm the founder of Automated Creative, and this is a weekly podcast where I get to interview a very clever person from the industry to tell us about their vision for the future of the industry. And this week is no different. I'm on a call with Søren Mohr, who is Nordic Media and Digital Manager at Nestlé. Søren, for anyone who doesn't know you, can you give the audience a bit of a background?
Yeah, and thank you for having me here. Yeah, I have worked with sales and marketing and media and digital for many years. I have worked within telecom and also within the fitness industry, and always with a focus on business to consumer. That's what I find most interesting. And it has been mostly with subscription companies. And then I've also worked in startups, which has also been really interesting, going from the more corporate businesses and big businesses or big companies. And now today I have had roles like CMO and marketing directors. And today I work as you said, as a Nordic Media and Digital Manager at Nestlé Nordic.
So, first question. In that varied career, different roles, different verticals, what's been your biggest mess up, your facepalm disaster that you were red-faced and you were caught out, that you hated happening at the time, but now you're glad it did?
Well, actually, I had worked in telecom for several years, and I really liked working with subscription company and the subscription model. And then I moved into the fitness industry because I found it really interesting at that time. And I kind of challenged the CEO. I have only been there for 2 or 3 months, and said, "Hey, we are constantly rewarding new members, but we're not doing anything for the existing members." And he could see the point. And so I just suggested that because in February we had our birthday. So I said, "Hey, why don't we, offer all the members of this fitness chain?" I think we were at 100,000 members at that time, to come down, and then they can choose they can get a towel or some pads for when they're training, or a fitness bag. And he thought it was a good idea, and we did it. And we just ran completely out of stock of the free gifts for the members. And we had done some different scenarios of where it could go, but it went totally bananas. So everyone just got down to the fitness club and asked for a free bag or free towel, and these center managers, they were like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but we're out of stock." And some of the members got a bit upset. So I think it was a really good learning that you need to do something for your existing members instead of always just rewarding new members. But also when you do that, then really think of having the gifts there, and also that you have to think about everything when you do a thing like that.
And so what did you do differently the next time you tried that at the same place or a different role?
Well, it's not so much of the concrete, you can say, event. It's more like the learning that you really need to think about the existing members if you run a subscription business, I think, and how you can reward them, and also that they're actually up for that reward, and they really, if you offer them something, they would be happy to come down and ask about it. So if I should do it again, I would probably hook up with a audiobook subscription service and ask for a free voucher code. So a scalability of some sort. So it's not a physical thing where you have the obvious limitation. So that's something that I've learned, you can say.
Brilliant. So moving on, what would be your top marketing tip that you find yourself sharing, giving, or thinking about most often?
Actually, of course, I'm very keen on performance marketing and personalization as everyone else. But I actually think it's more of an approach that I've learned most of, and that's actually it's actually dating back to the same fitness chain that I work for, where my CEO. I had a talk with him at some point, and he said that, Søren, if we went deer hunting, then I would get the most deers when we were going deer hunting, but you would shoot them right in the heart. And I would probably hit them in the neck or in the stomach, but I'll hit them. And so I'll get the most, but you will get, the finest shot. And it's just an anecdote that has stuck with me for ever since that story, because, we're really doing a lot of stuff, and we had a very effective marketing team at that point. But still, I totally got the point, that you really need to move forward and not think about, not analyze too much. And I know that, everyone is also thinking about that at some point, but it was just so clear, that anecdote, and so obvious, and it has, as I said, stuck with me ever since. And I think it really relates to when you work with marketing, because you can look for a lot of different insights and pay, and analytic companies to get even more reports and insights. But sometimes you have to, when you have 2 or 3 insights and you also have some experience and gut feeling, then you have to move forward,
Well, look, that's the first deer hunting analogy we've had on the podcast. So
it is. Do I get a prize?
You come down to my gym and I'll give you some free gear. That's
cool.
This episode of the Shiny New Object podcast is brought to you in partnership with MadFest. Whether it's live in London or streamed online to the global marketing community, you can always expect a distinctive and daring blend of fast-paced content, startup innovation pitches, and unconventional entertainment from MadFest events. You'll find me causing trouble on stage, recording live versions of this podcast, and sharing a beer with the nicest and most influential people in marketing. Check it out at www.madfestlondon.com. So moving on, we're going to discuss your shiny new object, which is subscription business models. So you've told us that you've worked in subscription business before, but why is subscription business models a shiny new object for you?
Well, I think it's, as we just stated, that, I have worked for different subscription companies, and I just... I just can't leave the subscription model, because I think it's so interesting and so fascinating, in the sense that it's kind of simple, I think, because you have a system for looking at how you actually get member on board, and you also when you have your members or customers on board, you also think about how you can actually get them to be in your company as long as possible, it being a club or insurance company or a tele company, and then when they're leaving the company, you should also look at how you can give them a good offboarding as well. And also when they have left, then you will think about how you can win them back. And you also have a lot of different metrics. And I just think that looking at the recent years, you have different authors. You have Chin Sun from Zurora in the States, and also previous Salesforce, writing books about subscription companies and why everyone should consider to enter into subscriptions. And we also have somebody here in the Nordics as well. But I just think that we need to move even, past that and think about that some companies, it really doesn't make sense if they go into subscription, but they can still, copy a lot of the approaches of a subscription company. So my shining you up, you can say, is that I really urge all companies to play the game of thinking like a subscription company and consider themselves being a subscription company, even though they're not a subscription company, because I think there's a lot to gain from a more traditional business as well.
Right. Okay. So let's role play that. Right. So I'm looking at some things on my desk. Right, I'm looking at a Bose smart speaker, so portable company, portable speaker. Bose is a client of ours, so that's why it's there. It's very good. So yeah, how would a business like Bose, a consumer hardware manufacturer, consumer electronics manufacturer, I should say, approach subscription?
And that's a really good question, because then I will actually divert the question over to Jabra, because I just bought some Jabra in-ears headsets, and actually, let's say I bought them and I got them today, then it would be perfect if Jabra called me tomorrow and asked me, oh, Søren, we can see that you got these. So we just wanted to make sure that everything is all right. Have you properly installed them? Have you configured them to your hearing, etc.? And also, of course, try to get some data on me. And maybe even they know how long they will probably last, or they have data showing, okay, is Søren in the category of getting a bit tired of his headset 1 year from now? Then they should try to, contact me maybe 10 months from now and ask me if everything is okay. And maybe if they hear anything about me saying that, this is okay, but they are kind of falling out at some point when I'm doing fitness. Oh, well, we actually have an upgrade to that, and we can actually offer you 10% off if you're interested in that. So it's that kind of mechanism. We can just, if we go back to fitness, then we actually modeled on our internal data, and we found out, okay, so how do we get Tom to stick in the fitness club as long as possible? And then we could see some variables that, okay, if you work out together with a friend, then you're more likely to stay longer in the fitness chain. Not on a given Tuesday, but maybe 18 months, 22 months. And also, if you participate in events, if you train like 2 or 3 times a week, then that's perfect, because if you go like 5 times, 6 times, then you're likely to be, then it's harder to stay into that rhythm. So you have all these different variables and insights into, what would be the most optimal behavior. And I think that of course you can't do that for all businesses. But at least for some, you would be able to have some insights on how the consumer will actually stay loyal to your product.
So can you give me an example of a brand that listeners may not think of as a subscription business, but you think do a great job of implementing subscription thinking? Well,
actually, I would say that just earlier today, when I was thinking about the podcast that we're doing now, I actually got a mail from it's actually an e-commerce that is selling paint for, if you need to paint your wall. And I just bought this 5-liter painting that I got, I think 2 days ago. And I got a mail today saying, oh, Søren, we just wanted to hear if you has started your project, and just reach out if you have questions in regards to the technique, etc., because we're here to help. And we also have a guide here on the 10 most asked questions. And also here, there's a video on how you should actually do some sharp lines as well. And I think that's kind of, the beginning of a subscription journey, you can say. And that's not a company. It's not a subscription company, and it's pretty hard to be a subscription company if you're selling paint. But still, they're thinking like a subscription company. And if I should think about, I'm not going to name, maybe I could, but I'm not going to name a company, but I can name industries that should think of themselves as subscription companies: insurance companies, pension funds, banks. I've been with the same insurance companies for 15 years, and they reached out to me, I think 2 or 3 times. And when they did that, they were actually trying to convince me to get on board on their insurance company. And I was like, are you kidding me? I've been a client there, or I've been a customer there for 15 years. And it's just a good example of a company that, doesn't know anything about their data.
Sorry, go on, finish that point.
No, I was just and just reflecting about pension funds right now, when we have inflation, war, and we just had Corona. I think it would be quite relevant for a pension fund to reach out to me and with some calming information about just calm down. Don't you shouldn't sell your stocks or your bonds at this moment. Just in long run, it will still make sense to stick to your stocks. And so that would be the same for the bank as well. So there's so many things that or companies that could benefit from this, and of course this is the more traditional industries. And actually, when thinking about companies that are doing this, then it's actually most startups or scale-ups and mostly e-commerces. But it's probably just like you have your own company, and you're thinking about that company 24 hours a day. And I think that you have to have the same approach as the founders of a startup, of a scale-up, because they are into the nitty-gritty thing of actually optimizing their company, and they care about the company. And I think some of that lack in maybe some of the bigger companies.
You gave me so much to think about, and I would love to carry on talking about this, but unfortunately we are at the end of the episode. So if anyone in the audience wants to speak to you about subscription business models, where would you like them to reach out to you? And specifically, what do you want to hear in that message?
Well, they can just reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's perfect.
But what goes in the message? Because I'm sure you'll get inundated with messages, but what cuts through for you?
But if they want to discuss a subscription business model, or if they want to discuss whether they should go into subscription or what they can actually adopt from a subscription model, then I would be happy to discuss that. And that's what I beside my job at Nestlé, then I read books about subscription and think about subscriptions all the time. So I'm more than happy to discuss it. It's kind of a hobby or a passion, you can say.
Well, Søren, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, just before you go, I'd really appreciate it if you could take the time to write a review of the shiny new Object podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever it's called these days, or whichever podcast provider you use. We're an indie podcast, so it would go a long way for us if you could just share the word and give us a bit of a support on those channels. That'd just be fantastic. If you haven't got time, that's also cool. And if you could tell your colleagues about the podcast, and also, if possible, don't forget to subscribe. And I'd love to hear your feedback. If you'd like to speak on the podcast or be a guest, or you think I'm asking the wrong questions, anything, I'd be super interested to hear what you think. So please email me at tom@automatedcreative.net. That's TOM at, I'm not going to bother spelling it. Anyway, you'll work it out. Thanks so much.